I'll be host today. My name is Mayur. I'm one of the co-founders of the Green Collective. And today we are covering a topic which gets less talked about in sustainable fashion, actually how to adopt it, which is building your green wardrobe. And we have some amazing people from our little green kampung here, some brands who will be basically talking to you about what their brand stories are, the sustainability aspects of it, of course, and how you can actually use these products to create a green wardrobe and style it to have a completely green look. So what we'll do is we'll get started. We will have brands talking about themselves and then move into a Q&A. You will see the question and answer panel. You can, of course, during the course of the webinar, please keep going through any questions you have. You can also upvote these questions. The session is also live on Facebook. So if you have any questions on Facebook Live, please feel free to ask them. We will bring it to the sessions and, of course, ask the amazing brands that we have. Perfect. So just a quick introduction on who we are. So we are the Green Collective. We are Singapore's first collective, which is curated based on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And what we try to do is we try to give a platform to young sustainable brands so that they can grow, nurture with the collective. And we have a retail presence in Funan. And the exciting thing is that we are also online now. So you can actually find a lot of these products online. And the essence of these products was to basically give an alternative to everyday use products, which have a sustainability aspect embedded into them. So that's us. You can find us online now as well as in Funan. And this is the part where the host in me needs to shut up and needs to pass the mic to people who actually matter for this webinar. So we'll get started with aNERDstore. Hannah is here. So Hannah, let's pass it to you to tell us more about the brand and yeah, why Batik is so important for the world.
Thanks, Mayur. Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah, and I am one half of aNERDstore. My partner, Tony, and I started this as a slow fashion brand, incorporating heritage textile handmade by Indonesian artisans. We're both Indonesians. Our mission is to preserve batik and tenun techniques as a cultural heritage and a sustainable source of income for the textile artists and clothiers and seamstresses in Indonesia. Thanks to the Green Collective, we are not just another batik brand because we saw what the fashion industry globally is, and we saw the need for better practices, and then we saw that there is a gap that the heritage textile art can fill, and then we saw the opportunity to make batik better. Therefore we tried to do that to make batik better for the makers, for the wearers, and for the environment. And of course, we're very excited today because last week we just talked about exactly what we do and how our brand is sustainable, and how we help with ethical cloth making. But this week we're going to actually talk about how we can incorporate batik into your sustainable wardrobe. If you're building your capsule wardrobe, you will know that mainly we'll be looking at basics that you can wear many times. But today we also want to talk about how you can have prints that are that represent. You can express yourself and still make sure you're being responsible with your choice of clothing. So I won't go too much into it. You'll hear more of it throughout the course of the hour.
Perfect. I think we can move on to twopluso. Agnes, take over and tell us more about twopluso.
Yeah, hi. I'm Agnes. I'm from twopluso. We are an eco-friendly apparel brand, and currently we are only for kids, but we are moving to a ladies' wear soon. So we are using only like organic cottons and tencel. So what we do is our designs are more on gender neutral. Even the colors are also, so it's like boys and girls also can wear. And because we believe that neutral tones are the best, and because it's sustainable, so it should be passed down, and it can be you can wear it like longer and longer. Yeah. So that's all.
Agnes, maybe you could talk a bit more about how the inspiration for the brand was. How did you get into a segment like this with sustainability?
Okay, actually, the ideas of me having this brand is because of my kids. Because I have two kids, and one of them actually has a serious eczema problems. So we went through like this. We test through a lot of fabrics and everything, and he was so allergic to cottons. So in the end, we choose organic cottons, and that made me feel that it's more comfortable. And I, as a parent, I think that if we can, we shall look good and feel good. And since it get better on them, why not we just have a range of organic products just for the clothing itself, which then at the same time, I mean, you look good and you feel better on your skin. And yeah, so that's how this brand actually came about.
So that's pretty cool, actually. I think what you said about you look good and you feel better, that's kind of, I personally feel should be the bottom line for sustainable fashion, because both need to go together.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think I and Hannah have exchanged notes on this sometimes, working with artisanal fashion. Sometimes that's a challenge. So cool. Perfect. Thanks a lot for that, Agnes. Let's move on to the next brand, and which is really, really innovative. And Emma, please tell us about Truth&All.
Hi, so I'm Gemma. I'm the co-founder of Truth&All. So we launched a year ago now, and we're a sustainable sunglasses brand. We actually make our sunglasses out of 100% biodegradable and 100% recyclable acetate. So we came to launching the brand because we were shocked, as most people are, about the plastic overconsumption in society. And we thought, about different products that are actually made of plastic and whether there is alternatives. But the most important thing in that is that the alternative still needs to meet fashion needs, because people want to look stylish. And so we believe our brand is a no compromise brand. So you're able to look stylish as well as be sustainable. So our beautifully designed sunglasses, we believe, are simply better for you, better for the environment, and better for the world. And the reason for this is, the next slide, is that we consider the whole life cycle of the sunglasses. So the acetate, or the bioacetate, is actually made from renewable sources of cotton and wood, and natural alternatives from plasticizers, which are actually of plant origin. So think along the lines of a resin. So the end result is a sheet of acetate. We then use a family-run, socially responsible, supporting fair wages and working conditions company in Greece, and they hand make the sunglasses. We also consider all our packaging, so our boxes, cases, cloths, even our shipping labels, all made from recycled materials. We ship internationally because we want everyone to rock Truth&All across the world. So we offset all our international shipping, the carbon from our international shipping. And then we've considered the end life cycle of our sunglasses as well, and that's by using the 100% biodegradable material. But actually the best end of life for Truth&All would be to recycle them and to use the material again. So we offer a return and rewards program to achieve that, so that we can send them back and they can be repurposed. So on top of all this, what we really wanted to do was not just produce something that didn't have a negative impact on the world, but we wanted to see if we could actually have a positive impact. And so that's where we brought in giving a percentage of our profits into sustainability projects. So our first one has been partnering with the Sea Monkeys, and they do a whole range of activities, mainly around plastic education in Malaysian schools. They do buyback schemes for fishing nets with local villages. And they also produce or create small microeconomies within local communities across Southeast Asia by giving them plastic recycling machines, so they can clean up their local communities and produce products that can then make them money. So we've been really proud of that, how far we've come so far. And we're just so happy to be part of the amazing community at the Green Collective and all these amazing brands that are doing fantastic things. That's it.
Thanks a lot, Gemma. Let's move on to Indosole, and Jen, tell us more about it.
Sure.
And the interesting aspects and the history and everything else.
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Jen. I'm from Indosole. I'm the distributor here. So Indosole was founded years ago now. It's a footwear brand. We like to say it's a responsible footwear brand. It's the main premise is to take waste tires and turn them into the soles of our shoes. Tires are a major, trash problem in the world, and one that gets overlooked in a lot of cases. As you can see here, there's 1.6 billion tires every year, and in some countries they are recycled into other products, often commercial and production products. But in places like Indonesia, where our brand began, 60% of them just end up getting burnt for fuel, which you can imagine releases a lot of toxic fumes into the air. And if they're not being burnt, they're, obviously either going to landfill or they're, being dumped in just in the back of dumping yards and shops and waterways and oceans, and not being used. So we take the tire, 100% of it, and turn it into a fine powder, and we set that into the mold of a sole for the shoe. So we're trying to get to a zero waste situation. When Indosole started, we were literally cutting the tires, the soles of the tire out of the tires, but of course there was still waste. So that was the aim, and the brand got to that point about 3 years ago. We've recycled 100,000 tires. So say 1 million tires from Indonesian landfills were burnt. We like to think that, a flip-flop is very many people can access steps of their sort of responsible consumerism journey, because once they worry and find out what goes behind the production and so forth, and hopefully makes them then start to think about other they can do. And so we like to say it has mass impact through the universal aspect of Indosole, which is a responsible brand. All those aspects are considered, and we're one of the first 1,000 companies in the world to have operation, and the first one in operations in Indonesia.
Cool, perfect. Waiting for the slides to be shared again. Even if you could share the slides so that we can move on to the style. So you've heard about the brands, you've heard about the uniqueness of the brands. Now, I think since this session is about building your sustainable wardrobe, I'll pass it back to Jen to talk us through some of the styles that we curated from across these different brands. Jen, over to you.
Thanks. So I think, I'll on behalf of the other brands, I think it's really wonderful to be a part of the Green Collective, because it is such a large range of options, from day wear, evening wear, yoga wear, beach wear, lots of different things. And obviously Indosole, there's a few other shoe brands there as well, which is great. So Gemma and I pulled a few outfits together, and as well with Agnes a few days ago. So it was lots of fun. So we've got on the left here a top and trouser ensemble from aNERD. I think, Hannah, that you were saying that's 100% naturally dyed top. Right. And obviously you've got the beautiful hand printed batik trousers. And, you style this with a pair of slides, a pair of sunglasses, a nice necklace. This is a Mutaware necklace, recycled materials. Upcycled materials. You could really start to see where it doesn't have to be boring. It, like Hannah, you said before, a little bit of pattern and color can really bring out someone's personality, and also make them feel that a sustainable wardrobe doesn't have to be boring. I think, 20 years ago, there was a very limited range, but these days we have so much more to choose from, with so many companies and brands like the ones in the Green Collective showcasing their ranges there. And on the right, we've got aNERD shorts again. These are a favorite of mine. I do hope they come in again in lots of different sizes so I can get them. I've been pairing that with a pair of granite slides a few times. So another pair of sunglasses from Truth&All. Saga Seed is another brand, obviously, at the Green Collective. They're not included tonight, but some wonderful clothes made with tencel. You've got
Saga Seeds. Saga Seeds is one of those maternity brand that non-pregnant people have been wearing, right?
Yeah, I have I'm wearing one right now. In fact, it's like I live in Sugarseed and I haven't been pregnant for about 8 years now. So, you know, that works. But yeah, it's, you know, I love these two looks because you've got something you can easily wear to the office, you can wear out to lunch, you can wear out to dinner, and then you've got something you can just go to the pool, something great for holidays, something for just weekend traipsing around, which is really fun. So a couple of great showcase outfits there. Move on to the next slide. What have we got next? Cool. I'll hand this over to Agnes now from 2pluso because she styled together these little outfits, which I love for children.
Yeah, okay. So on the left, there's a organic cotton with bamboo t-shirt for anywhere, I would say, and a pair of shorts. And on the right, so it's a two-tone hoodie shirt. This is actually, I mean, when I designed this, actually I wanted to meant for boys. But in the end, majority of them are actually girls. So yeah, I think that, okay, I think I should style them as a more gender neutral, which is like unisex clothing. And then I pair off with the Indosole shoes because I think they are just perfect. You know, you just look like you are going to, I don't know, you are going for enrichment class or you're just going for a beach or something like that, which is, I feel that for kids, they should wear something that is light and airy and it's not heavy. Yeah, so I think there's some more, right? So this is our another bestseller is our hoodie dress. So this is also organic cotton. And that's the shoes. What's the bag, Jen?
I think that's from Style Cat. So made
in the Philippines.
Yeah. I love, I mean, I've got a 10-year-old daughter and she's just a little bit too old for this dress now, but you know, I was imagining her when I was putting this together. She loves, the fun design on the back. I mean, she also loves the idea of having a hoodie. I don't know why, but you obviously know why kids love hoodies. It's something.
Yes, true. That's why I designed something that is. I think even adults also like hoodies. I don't know why.
It's very chic. Like I wish my baby clothes look like this, you know, like my kid photos. But no, I don't dress this cool when I was younger.
Yeah, true. I think we all didn't.
Okay. Oh, and this is another one that we put together. This is August Society. Tony couldn't join us tonight, but this is her kids' range of swimwear, which she actually designed with unisex in mind as well, so that, you know, I mean, a little girl could easily be running around in this outfit. Obviously, you know, a little boy might gravitate towards it as well. Pineapples are for everyone, right? So, and yeah, once again, a pair of toddler flip-flops. Our toddlers range has the strap on the back, of course, but we do have a bigger kids range without the strap. But once again, you know, so easy, patterns, colors, so easy to dress your kids sustainably, and products that are not going to fall apart and people are paid fair wages for, and you know, the materials of the products are sourced specifically. These particular ones are 100% recycled plastic, and mostly from ocean waste, I believe. So, which is really cool.
Oh yeah. Okay, it's mine. Okay, so I paired this with August Society because, you know, girls like to wear skirts, and when they went to swimming, they will need something to cover up before they just jump down to the pool. So I think this looks so cool. And on the right side, there's this design was actually the same as the organic cotton, but just that I changed the fabric to tencel, which I think this is slightly thicker than the organic cotton, but then it's because it have a more, how should I say, it have a more firm look than the organic cottons. But overall, I mean, they still look so cool because I think, yeah, so I try to match them like a boy and a girl so that we can, he's like, you know, that's the difference. And of course you can match that t-shirts with anything, any shorts or anything, but I think this looks so cool.
It's the same pair of sandals as well, right?
Yes. Actually, I love everything in this photo. I want my kids to wear this, so that's why I just, you know, yeah, I just do that. But my kids are not here, okay. Oh, that's
Cool. I
nice.
see there's a couple more that I styled. I love my yoga, so, and I love my sea salt flip flops. So I threw that together. So on the left we have August Society. So the wonderful thing about August Society swimwear is that not only are a lot of the pieces reversible, but you could use it for swimwear, but you can use it for yoga wear. It's really versatile, and that allows you to, you know, have spend less basically, and have less in your wardrobe if you've got multi-use items like that. And this is one of the classic and most popular items at the store, which is the bamboo straw girl water bottle, which we just have to take everywhere these days. So, but yeah, pairing that up. And then on the right, another one of Mel's water bottles from Bamboo Straw Girl, and Touch the Toes is another one of our yoga brands at the store. She has a lot of yoga mats and yoga gear, but also some clothing as well. And so, yeah, that was just a fun sort of pairing, putting those together. You know, it doesn't matter what you're doing, I guess, whether you're working, going to the beach, working out physically, you can really easily find a large range of responsibly made, environmentally friendly clothing at the Green Collective, which I really love.
I think there's a little question there, guys, in our down the bottom.
Yeah, I think there's one question that we already have, and the question is about why the kakis chose the kind of recycled material to be used in their products over other materials. Actually, this question is very applicable to Jennifer, because recycled would be for tires. And Emma, I think it will be very interesting to talk about a bit of background on the acetate and talk about where conventional sunglasses and what materials are used in them, because I think it's one of those problems that people don't see.
So for us, your really cheap sunglasses that you buy, that, you know, your $20 or $30 from the service station down the road sort of sunglasses, are actually plastic pellets melted down into a mold. So they're mass produced, very brittle, poor quality. Your more expensive sunglasses are acetate sunglasses. So acetate's already quite eco-friendly. It's made from cotton and wood, and then plasticizes to set it into sheets. And then the sunglasses are cut out of these sheets. Then the difference that the acetate we use is a bioacetate. So they replace the plasticizers with the natural alternative, which is of a plant origin. Obviously, they can't tell us exactly because it's their trademark to make their material, but it is, and then that in itself has made it 100% biodegradable and 100% recyclable. For us, we chose that material over doing like bamboo wood sunglasses because we felt it gave us a no compromise swap, basically. You know, ideally, you want to still have the same look, the same feel, you want to have the same range of colors, etc. when you are buying a pair of sunglasses that you're going to wear on your face. And with these, there is no compromise to your style. You get to have all the same colors because it's got the same, it essentially looks exactly the same as the plastic alternative, but without the harm to the environment.
Yeah. Cool. And I'll talk about the recycled tires. So Indosole started off purely because the founder, Kyle Parsons, who's based in California, he bought a pair of sandals in Bali, and lo and behold, underneath it was a piece of a tire, and he could like read the edge of Bridgestone or something on it. And he just, at the time, became sort of awakened to the rubbish problem. I mean, we're probably looking at about 14 years ago right now, 15 years ago, the rubbish problem in Bali and the oceans, and he's a surfer, and, you know, looking at a shoe, a product that he just picked up to wear from a roadside artisan, and goes, hang on, this is cool. We can recycle stuff that's not being used. And, you know, tires just don't break down, and that's obviously a really good quality of a sole of a shoe because so many, you know, cheaper or, you know, standard flip-flops on the market, the part that often breaks are the plugs, and the sole wears down to the point where, you know, you then get this really thin sort of layer between you and the ground, which is not really comfortable and not very supportive. So having a tire, you know, you've got this product that is basically becomes another resource for us. And you know, it's where the world needs to go. We need to stop buying things that end and actually, how can we use them again? You know, how can we, and like Gemma, your idea of putting your sunglasses back into, you know, a buyback program and being able to recycle them and stuff. So if we can start to look at rubbish or waste as an actual resource, and then how we can put that into products we use every day, I think that's, you know, just fantastic. So using tires is just one of the ways that Indosole do that.
Exactly, and I think that's a broader answer to the question, that it's more like, instead of why, it's a why not.
Yeah.
That why hasn't waste been a resource? Because we are programmed to generate waste, and that's how circular economies can actually function.
Yeah.
And if COVID has taught us something, it is that basically the more circular we are, the more secure we are.
Yeah.
So which is why you see countries across the world reopening in a much more sustainable mindset. Hopefully more companies will join the club, but that's a larger question, answer to your question. At this point, I want to launch a poll, since we are talking so much about fashion, to understand a bit more about the audience. And there will be a poll on your screen, and if you could just take the poll, we would get an idea of where are you yourself in your fashion journey. And as you take the poll, we can continue with taking the rest of the questions that we're getting. Actually, the next question is very tricky and interesting as well. It's from Janet, and it's asking about what is better. Is in terms of environmental impact, have more clothing and do less laundry, or have less clothing and do more of laundry? I will jump into it first and give my aspect. Guys, back me up here. So, Janet, fashion is such a complicated industry when it comes to doing this. There is a lot of water consumption that happens in manufacturing of a t-shirt, a very, very simple product like a t-shirt. That water has actually led to countries across the world losing water table. It's that bad. If you go to Uzbekistan in Central Asia, which is the second biggest producer of cotton, the water table, and there is this image of Aral Sea, in which there is a boat which is on a piece of land which used to be lake at one point of time, not so long back actually. So when you choose what you buy, the reason it makes sense to go for sustainable is because a lot of the resources that we have, which are limited, which is something we don't understand. We have very limited resources. Those resources have already been deployed. So if you could do less, it's better. Of course, we all need to be hygienic. So washing less is not something that anyone would suggest, but washing also does create a larger footprint for you. And but this was just to give you an idea, because we can't just think of post-consumer, post you buying what is happening. A lot of the damage has been done pre the purchase, and that's what I think we want to increase a lot of awareness on as well. Guys, what are your opinions on this question?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think if you have in terms of washing, I think you can do a little bit of both in terms of, make sure your load is full and that sort of thing. So you can still wash less and achieve, a reduced impact that way. But if we're all buying more clothes to do less laundry, the demand's there, which means the fast fashion or the mass-produced fashion will continue. So we as consumers need to curb that with reducing our demand for it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And in fact, I'd go further as to say that you shouldn't buy so much that you don't have to do laundry. Because if, the more you wash the clothes, especially if you're using natural fibers, right, they'll wear out, they'll stretch out at some point. You'll wear out your clothes. So then if you're in an air-conditioned room most of the time, there's really no need to keep washing your clothes. You're not sweating, it's not dirty. You can keep it and you can hang it to dry and you can wear it again. But having said that, of course, like if you do have so minimal that it becomes unhygienic, then that's not good as well. That's not a good alternative. So everything in moderation, I guess.
Yes, Jen, do you guys have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think, in terms of making those decisions at the point of purchase, like you said, Maya, is still one of the most important things. I mean, obviously, if you buy synthetic and it gets dirty and you have to wash it regularly, you're actually contributing to more plastic in our waterways and ultimately in the ocean and the water we drink. I think definitely less clothing, but it's that pre-purchase point of considerations. Like before you buy something, who made it? Where did it come from? What is the environmental impact already? Because ultimately, your impact of washing over the years that you're going to have that, I think, is not going to be as extensive as the bulk impact of producing those items in the first place.
I would just say, buy. Consider it before you buy. I mean, for myself, I always do that. So we would just think where they come from and everything, and we will decide whether should we get it or not.
Yeah, I think that's a great thought. And I remember seeing this documentary where the Patagonia founder talks about, and Janet, this should also answer the question that you're asking, that he talks about that till the 70s, no one consumed fashion. You only consumed food. Suddenly, with a huge push towards increasing demand for products, everyone started consuming everything else that was food as well. So there was a consumer for fashion, which is a bit bizarre. You have a customer. So actually, Patagonia as a company doesn't use the word consumer, and that's slightly on the philosophical side, but actually it's derived from the way things have changed for all of us and how consumption pattern has changed. But I think collectively we believe that it has to come from all of us individually, and it has to be at the decision-making point when you are making that decision. I'll continue with another question that Janet has, which is about transitioning to a more sustainable wardrobe. So should you wait for your non-sustainable clothing to wear out and replace it with a sustainable option? Or is it better to immediately transition to sustainable fashion so that you minimize the impact on your exposure to synthetic or non-organic materials? Hannah, you want to take this one?
Well,
it's more like, what would you do?
Yeah. So the answer, if I'm like a salesman, is yes, buy now, definitely. But that's definitely the wrong answer. Because like, oh yes, you definitely want to wear out the current clothes that you have, right? Like, okay, it depends on what you want to be as a person. But what I would do is I wouldn't change anything. I still have some old items from fast fashion brands. Not very proud of them because I was mentioning this last week that I still thought I was a consumer first, right? I was like, oh, why should I pay $50 when I can have a $5 t-shirt, exact same looking thing for 10 times the price? And the answer is because, well, if I'm not if I'm paying $5, somebody else is paying for the rest of whatever I'm not paying for, and that's the makers, and that's the everyone who is underpaid or who's not treated the way they should be to get to that $5 t-shirt is paying for me to get it that cheap, right? So somebody else is paying for it. But having said that, now that you have this, you don't go, oh, I better chuck this then and buy new ones, because then you're contributing to the problem, obviously, right? Because you want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And that's me. But yeah, I think some of you guys will probably have something else to add to that.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think creating virgin material or products is always going to be more taxing on the environment, so to use the stuff you've got is always the first point of call. But then there's lots of other things that can help reduce the impact of, like Jen touched on, every time you wash a synthetic fibers, microplastics go into the wash, but they've got some amazing things that collect the microplastics from your washing machine and things like that now. So you can still wear this stuff and reduce the impact that you're having by continuing to use it before needing to replace it. And then when you do replace it, you are now a conscious consumer, or not consumer. We don't want to use that word. Conscious
Purchaser.
Fashionista. A conscious fashionista.
Conscious human. Let's all be human.
Make a different choice when you go to replace it with something else. Then you'll be wiser, and you'll be able to think, more holistically about not just, the price tag. Let's look beyond the price and consider the whole thing. But I think as a whole, I'm going to have to use consumer just because I use it all the time. I'm going to have to stop using it now. But as a consumer, we need to relearn what the true cost of products is, because we've been so conditioned through fast fashion and mass production, where people are, both the environment and people are paying the price for cheap products. We're so conditioned that that's what we think it costs now, because we've had it for 20 odd years at a very, very cheap price. And when I think back to when I was a kid and my mother would buy things, they didn't cost that. They weren't super, super cheap. Mum would only have a very select wardrobe of things because it was expensive to replace clothing. And it's only when we started to, have this mass production that changed. And we need to re-educate society and relearn what the true cost of things is, so that people don't feel like they're being ripped off by buying sustainably.
I think that's really true. And I think just to wrap it up, Janet, there are many more options. You can also recycle your clothing, or you can actually swap your clothing, which is another concept. So you should check out Swapaholic as well as Fashion Pulpit, which are two organizations in Singapore, amazing entrepreneurs the idea is to swap so that you extend the life of the cloth that you have while getting more choices as well. So
I'll just say on that, I'm wearing a pair of shorts from a Swapaholic swap that I did 2 years ago, and they're wonderful.
Exactly.
It allows me to, if things, I mean, they're a pair of denim shorts, and my last ones literally fell apart, so it was time for a new one. And I was looking, but I couldn't find anything, and I didn't want to get to that point where I really needed to buy a pair of shorts, and therefore was going to have to compromise how they were made or where they came from. And the fact that I could just swap it means that something's already out there, already being made, and the cost of making that, don't know what the brand is or where it came from, but at least I haven't put money into continuing those practices that may have been bad in the first place for the environment or the people that are doing it. So yeah, swapping is a great option.
Oh, and just a second-hand clothing thing. Sorry, Maya. Yeah, it's also great for those things, the parties that you have. Like I had a 70s party, and I was like, I'm going to have to buy a 70s dress and have one in my wardrobe. What am I going to do? And I went to the Fashion Pulpit, and then I could still, look fantastic, etc. But I didn't have to buy something brand new that I was going to only wear once and not ever wear again.
Right.
The next time you need an 80s party, you can go to my mother, because she still keeps her clothes from the 80s.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah, it's good. But as you can see, there are many options there. So I think sometimes, as I'm also used to saying consumer, Java. So it's not just you. So as you might feel that there are not that many options out there, and that might have been true, I think 6-7 years back. But today there is a whole range of options out there for you, which you can adopt and make your own journey so that it's convenient for you, which is very important. I know Jenna wanted to share some green tips with us as a parting comment for the webinar. We have one more question from Jenna, but Biffen, if you could just share the slides while we take this question as well. So since fast fashion results in a lot of textile waste being produced, why don't many companies use recycled textile input materials? Is it not a method? Let me quickly take up this question, looking at the time as well. So it's happening a lot, actually. Like you saw, August Society is a brand which works with recycled materials, and actually The supplier actually does it at a largish scale in Europe. And similar to that, like you can see how Indosole is actually scaling up, because Jennifer, I think, had shared some numbers on the number of tires recycled. That is a scalable solution. Other examples in this are that Coke actually works in China with a couple of companies who recycle all the plastic bottle to take polyester fiber out of it. So there are many, many models out there. But the sad part is that as many models are coming in, there's much more fast fashion. So the change also needs to come from all of us, changing the way we demand and we take purchase decisions. So change is definitely coming, which is why a Green Collective can survive today. And we have new brands and amazing brands coming up with interesting concepts. But we also rely on all of you to make the right choices. So definitely, you are completely right, because that is how the economy can be circular. And I think Jen pointed out very well, right? It's the concept of using waste as a resource, which is what you are talking about as well. So it's definitely happening, but it could be better. So, which is how always things are. So I have one eye on right now, so it's most time up for us. So I'll pass it to Emma to tell us a bit more about some top tips for greening your wardrobe.
Okay, so for us, if you pop to the next slide, but I just, if you are buying, I made it if you are buying new, because obviously we've spoken a lot about already. If you've got clothes in your wardrobe, you know, you want to use what you've got. When you can swap, you can rent. You know, renting is really amazing these days if you've got an amazing function you have to go to. But if you are wanting to buy something new, first tip from me would be to choose a classic style. Like we do only 4 styles, and they're timeless designs, and we specifically don't play to fast fashion. So we choose things that are always going to be in style. So choose something that suits you, that you know you're going to get a lot of wear out of, basically. The second one is to choose brands that consider the entire life cycle of a product. So from the raw materials we've spoken about, you know, how they're produced, is it an ethical way, the packaging that they use, the carbon footprint they have, and even the end of life of that product as well. What happens when you no longer want it or need it anymore? What happens to that product? And then the last one is to spread the word about the awesome eco brands out there, because no brand is perfect and we're all on a journey, but there are so many people working hard to really change fashion for the better. So I'd say tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell the world, and really spread the word about, eco fashion, conscious consumption, and you know, we have power in numbers. So the more people that make better choices, we'll be able to impact fast fashion and the big companies.
So awesome. Thanks, Gemma. If I can add to that, so some of them are going to tell people to also go to Green Collective's Tipsy Tuesday highlights. There have been a few times when we talked about fashion, like how to make sure that your clothes work for you, like how you make your money work for you. So make sure your clothes are hardworking if you're buying something new. So you can wear something in more than one way. You can make it in multiple ways. We did that once with batik. So head over Green Collective's Instagram, and yeah, and then of course always come to us because we're always taking turns to be at the Green Collective. Check out when we're going to be there next, and then ask us some questions.
Good idea.
Any last tips from Agnes and Jen?
For me, I've really, my sustainable fashion journey has really come down to things that just are usable across lots of different outfits. And I think that's what actually brought me to the Indosole brand. That's what really attracted me to it, because it was the first time I'd seen a sustainable fashion item that I think my husband would be interested in. Usually, obviously, a lot of the decision making is done by women. A lot of fast fashion is focused on women. We know that. So to see something universal, but that could be used in lots of different ways. And I love the idea of the slide. For me, that was, especially moving here to Singapore, I was like, wow, that can be used all the time. And I wear my slides out to dinner, but I can wear them to the beach as well, which I love. So having versatile things, when you look at something, you think, how many times am I actually going to wear this? And is it usable across lots of different situations? And yeah, having functional pieces like that is definitely worth considering every time you pick something up off the rack.
Yes, I agree. I like your slide too much. Okay, so it's like okay, for myself as a consumer, I'll always buy something that is a classic design because it will never go out of style. And for the colors, I mean, there's so many great colors out there, but sometimes you're not possible going to have like 20 colors in your wardrobe. That is far too much. So always choose a few that is your basic and the best that suit your style. Only you know which style is for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. I think we have one final poll, and if Piffin, if you could launch it, then we can actually. We're still getting questions, so if you guys don't mind, we can extend the session by another 5 minutes to take a couple of questions. So there's another poll that's been launched, which will about after this session, what do you think we would do with your wardrobe now? And that's always good to know, like, because we need to take action. That's very important. It shouldn't be always about a talk. So, so as you guys take the poll, what we do is take a couple of other questions that we did get. There are two questions. One is from Flavia on what do you think about the fast fashion scene in Singapore? Are we very sustainable or unsustainable? And the second question is a bit more specific on recycling services available in Singapore. Maybe Gemma, you want to give your opinion when you moved here, started your brand. How has your experience been on overall? How is the sustainable fast fashion? There's nothing called sustainable fast fashion, but sustainable versus the fast fashion scene in Singapore.
I think overall, I mean, I was shocked at how many shopping malls there were in Singapore. Felt like every corner was a shopping mall when I moved here. And I mean, when I talk to locals, they all say, you know, that shopping is a local sport. Or
there's nothing else to do, Gemma.
the number one pastime. So no, I think it is very unsustainable, but I also think there's a fantastic opportunity to become sustainable, because if people love shopping, then let's change how they shop and make them more conscious consumers. And there's so much we can do in Singapore. And I find particularly the younger generation coming through are really open to the sustainable movement. And they're getting great traction. And, you know, there's quite a few different platforms now where you can get rewards, etc., for sustainable lifestyle choices. And you can then redeem points on other sustainable brands. So we're creating a whole little circular economy within the sustainable community. And I think there's plenty of growth that can happen in that area. But no, currently I would lean towards the unsustainable side as we currently are, but I'm also seeing so much growth in it as well. And I don't know if that's just because I'm in the sustainable community now that I notice it, but I've noticed it, yeah, a huge growth recently. So I'm really proud of the way Singapore is taking on some sustainable thoughts.
I'll just throw it in there. I'm really aware, I was just reading today actually how, you know, some statistics saying that year on year the fashion industry in Singapore is growing 12.5%, and it doesn't expect to slow down. Now that tells me that fast fashion is getting faster, right?
Yeah.
But in saying that, you know, we've all seen, I mean, I've been here for 3.5 years myself, and so I can only speak for that period of time, but more and more companies, whether they are sustainable or not, are talking more and more about issues about responsibility, whether that's in the manufacturing or whether that's in the sourcing of the core materials or in the way that how long they use their products for. And so, you know, and trying to encourage recycling. And obviously recycling is not always the best thing. We need to reuse or just use things for longer in the first place. But I think it is still very much a fast fashion place, but people are awakening. And, you know, we're seeing that all over the world. The education is actually growing in terms of what sustainable fashion means and how we should be all using it. But how long that will actually take to become mainstream in Singapore, I think there's a long way off.
Yes, I think education is very important. So we always have to educate our customer to tell them and let them know what we are doing. Yes.
Yeah. I think for me, you know, what I've really loved about the Green Collective, and obviously because it's a collective, as brands, we work in the store, which is a great opportunity to talk to people. But I love how the store itself educates, because it is in a modern mall where there are tons of brands that people, you know, there's a movies, cinemas, there's all the shops that many brands that people know that they come there for, there's great food, and people walk into that store and you can see awakening happening in their eyes and their faces as they read about the stories behind products. And, you know, the more that the Green Collective grows and the community talks about what they're doing, the more that education will just, you know, get bigger and bigger and reach more people, which I think is fantastic. So hopefully Green Collective can expand, you know, online at least, reach more people online at least. So, you know, but yeah.
No, actually, and that's something we wanted to talk about because we've gone 10 minutes over time and I can still see questions coming in. So this is one thing you can actually, what you can do is you can go online and we actually have free delivery if you use the code Green Wardrobe, which is mentioned on the screen. So, so you can actually avail free delivery by using this code, and a lot of the products that you were seeing in the demos are actually available online. So that was done so that it becomes a bit more convenient for people to adopt sustainable lifestyle. So do visit it, spend some time there. There are a lot of stories on people that you see on these screens and webinars and what are their brands all about as well. So because like what we were talking about is a lot of our work is around education. So, but yeah, for now, if you're ready to purchase, you can use these codes.
I think a section that some people might skip is, don't skip it. When you go to Green Collective's website, look at what every brand has committed in terms of sustainable development goals. And I think that's the really cool thing that no other stockists that we have offer. So, you know, when you buy from a particular brand, you know exactly what you're supporting.
Contributing to.
Yeah, contributing to, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think that was the core of what we do, and as all of you know, would know that we're getting a bit more stricter about it as well, even individually. Cool. I think we can continue with one or two more questions. Gemma, there's a question specific to Truth and All. Genuine is asking about the packaging is all recycled, such as cloth. It is also mentioned that this is derived from renewable sources of cotton. What she's asking is how are these recycled cotton input materials obtained? And if there are any recycling facilities in Singapore for textile. I can get started with the second part, which is a general question. And I think it answers another question that we have in the Q&A section on the textile recycling services. Actually, we have a member within the Green Collective, Green Square, which does a lot of textile recycling. So you can actually bring in your clothing and give it back to us. That's one of the ways. What they do with it is they break it down into rugs and different kinds of products, extending the life. So that's what they are doing. So we are one of the donation centers. There are many other donation centers in Singapore for it. Apart from that, do you guys have more inputs on further recycling facilities for textile in specific in Singapore? We can always add on to that. But maybe before that, Gemma, I think the question is more around how is it actually done? How is the material actually
in terms
created?
of the microfiber cloths, they're literally just off-cut pre-consumer waste that's repurposed into microfiber cloths. Yeah, there's from then, like if you were then to recycle it, it would be recycled the same way as you recycle all other textiles. Sorry, that wasn't a very long explanation. Not sure how
but it was very accurate, I think. And but are you guys aware of any more recycling, textile recycling facilities in Singapore?
I'll just talk about shoes. So shoes are very hard to recycle. Obviously, a lot of synthetic materials, especially in sneakers and things like that. There is a program called Soles for Souls, which is an international program, and there are some outlets here in Singapore where you can drop off shoes, and those shoes are distributed to people in need, but they're not actually recycled. It tends to be, you know, please only drop off your good quality or, you know, still wearable clothing or shoes. People often ask me, you know, what can I do with my old flip-flops, whether they be Indosoles or not. Right now, we don't have a recycling program here in Singapore. We have started it in Bali, and it's going really well. And we're playing around with a lot of the waste that we're getting and seeing what we can make out of it. So we're trying to come up with new products. But the machine that we use specifically to create the powder from those rubbers and those materials, you know, it's in Indonesia, it's in Jakarta. So collecting shoes and then getting them over there, you have to consider that carbon footprint. So until we have localized recycling of shoes, it's not really an option here for us. It has to be reusable shoes that are distributed. That's just the shoe option for us, as far as I'm aware.
Hey Jen, I still have my old, the old design Indosole. Can you see it?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. Yeah.
With the bag.
Yeah.
I think you can't really see it, but the back of it has that has the tire, has the text from the tire. Yeah, but it's a bit dark. Just wanted to show it.
It's, you know, what I love about Indosoles is that it's really hard to kill a tire. You just it will be the last part of that shoe still standing. Use the pun again.
Yes, literally. Cool, guys. I think we've gone now 60 minutes over time. Thanks a lot for the question, guys. And of course, thanks a lot to all of you for sharing about the amazing work that all of you are doing. Thanks to the little invisible angel at the background, Payfin, who's sharing the slides and helping us put all these sessions together. So thanks a lot for being there. Guys, stay tuned. We do these sessions every week, as many of you would know, talking about different topics and bringing to you different brands who are basically part of the Green Collective and who kind of make the little green compound that we have. And we want more discussions. We want to increase awareness. And of course, we want you to take action. So as long as we keep doing all of this, we'll be successful. And with that, what we can do is we can wrap up this session. And thanks to all of you. Sorry for going overboard, but hopefully this was interesting for you. And we will see you in our Kampung chat, which is on sustainable food, new versus old, next week. So thank you to everyone and have a good evening, guys.
Thank you so much.
Hey. Thanks, guys.